Hi everyone, welcome to the dark side of YouTube. I'm your host eyessassin, also known as Asian Martial Matters. In this occasion I'm gonna shoot my opinions on new record by one of the most famous bands in music history, 21 Pilots. So, without any further ado, let's get started. "21 Pilots grow up and settle down. You can only cling to your big wheel for so long before adult life comes for you." For proof, look no further than the massively successful pop-rock duo 21 Pilots. Tyler Joseph and Josh Dunn's biggest hit, 2015's "Stressed Out," was all about wishing they could go back to childhood and live a happy-go-lucky existence unburdened by the pressures of adulthood. Over a thumping reggae-tinged slow creep, between sometimes pitched-down rap verses like, "I was told when I get older all my fears would shrink, but now I'm insecure and I care what people think," Joseph sang of his desire to be sung to sleep by his mother, and of instead being greeted with the jarring demand, "Wake up, you need to make money." In the video, he and Dunn, the drummer and Silent Bob of this partnership, sipped Capri Suns, hung out at their parents' homes, and cruised the streets of their native Columbus on oversized tricycles. Pining for the carefree innocence of youth was not invented by 21 Pilots' generation, but the overtness with which they longed for those days in the face of factors like student loan debt, and the groundswell of popularity that took "Stressed Out" all the way to number 2 a year after its release, made them natural avatars for millennial anxiety. It also made them an easy target for anyone seeking to rant about kids these days and their avocado toast or whatever. Never mind that these millennial poster boys' quirky hybrid sound owed as much to eclectic Gen Zers like Beck, Sublime, and the Beastie Boys. Half a decade later, they've started cribbing from the boomers too. We've all grown up a lot since the mid-2010s, 21 Pilots included. Most notably, last year, just before COVID shut the world down, Joseph and his wife Jenna welcomed a baby girl. So perhaps it's not that surprising that his band's new album sometimes goes full dad rock. The first song on Scaled and Icy, short for Scaled Back and Isolated, a nod to the album's genesis in Joseph's basement studio during quarantine, is "Good Day," a jaunty piano rocker in the vein of Paul McCartney and Ella. Another keyboard groove on Mulberry Street evokes Elton John's Benny and the Jets. With Never Take It, they have somehow crossbred sympathy for the devil with the new Radicals, Get What You Give. The unique sonic DNA that made 21 Pilots one of the most popular and influential rock groups of the 2010s is still discernible. A kitchen sink quality that yielded songs like early fan favorite, Ode to Sleep, which Frankenstein together bits of Queen Bee, My Chemical Romance, arena rock, Big Tent EDM, and nerdcore rap. But over time, as evidenced by Stressed Out, and subsequent hits, Ride, and Heathens, which made 21 Pilots the first band since the Beatles to land 2 songs in the Hot 100's top 5, they've been figuring out how to boil down all those influences into something more streamlined. They kept up this refinement process on 2018's Trench, often leaning into the harder, hipper sides of their sound. Heavy bass-powered rock on Jumpsuit, blown-out futuristic rap on Levitate, soulfully fizzy 80s pop on My Blood. With Scaled and Icy, Joseph often swings back in the other direction, letting himself be unashamedly corny the way parents often do. I speak from experience. This extends to the downright chipper attitude he brings to the new songs. If the 21 Pilots fan base once functioned as a sort of secular youth group for troubled kids, on Scaled and Icy, the Grownup jumps out. Not that the album is all sunshine and roses. The aforementioned "Good Day" is about the denial he imagines would set in if his family died, while closing track, Redecorate, was inspired by a friend whose son actually did pass away. Pessimism courses through Choker, No Chances, calls back to the dark, complicated mythology of Trench, and Saturday is all about the disorientation of life during lockdown. Yet Joseph intentionally pushed back against the doom and gloom vibe that defined the pandemic, so most of those songs sound happier than 21 Pilots have ever sounded. Bounce Man is practically a pub sing-along, with the guy who once pined for his mother's embrace on record now referencing his old lady, and telling a friend on the run to come by the house for one more song like the old days. Formidable frames the friendship between Joseph and Dunn, a brotherhood that has always been central to the band, as an epic love story. An interaction with Joseph's actual brother-inspired lead single, Shy Away, one of the finest songs this band has ever released, which could easily be mistaken for the ebullient synth rock of Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix. These songs are all proof that a straightforward and settled down 21 Pilots can be good. On the other hand, there is Saturday, the band's first collaboration with Adele Pink Kelly Clarkson producer Greg Kurstin, which is bad. Saturday may be rooted in pandemic disorientation, but everything about the song is extremely hokey, including what appears to be a phone call in which Joseph tells his wife that he wants to watch Friends with her. It's the closest this band has come to sounding like a joke. It's worth noting that while 21 Pilots were moving toward the middle was moving toward 21 Pilots. They played a part in altering the sound of modern rock radio. Artists from the Chainsmokers to AJR have ripped off their sound at times. They may or may not have directly influenced the currently prevailing cocktail of hip-hop and pop-punk, but they certainly presaged it. But if Joseph once seemed to have Pied Piper-like sway where youth culture was concerned, lately his fan base has not been so unanimously worshipful. Last year he was at the center of a social media dust-up when a segment of his fans urged him to post Black Lives Matter, and he glibly refused, arguing that he wanted to use his bandwidth to combat suicide and depression instead. He eventually tweeted, "Black Lives Matter," in March, just before his band announced their new album. In LessSubstantial Matters, Saturday has been cause for revolt among some longtime fans, who've been decrying the song on TikTok. Several have even described it as department store music, framing it as a betrayal from a band they grew up loving. But it's not like 21 Pilots are about to lose their following. Shy Away had an unusually strong debut at alternative radio and quickly shot to number 1, where it has remained for more than a month. Last year's quarantine single, Level of Concern, was their biggest hit since their 2016 breakthrough, peaking at number 23 on the Hot 100. A few clunkers aside, Scaled and Icy maintains the knack for poppy off-kilter rock music that made the band stars in the first place. If they've exited their disruptive interloper phase and settled down into musical adulthood, it's likely a good chunk of their fan base is growing up right along with them. Soon they'll all be clinging to their children's youth rather than wishing they could go back to their own. Overall, this album is mid but still fine. I bless this album C out of S. Feel free to comment down below what's your takes and perhaps you can recommend me track or album that I can review in the next video. Hit the like or dislike button to rate this video. Thanks for watching and please don't cry. I'll see you in the next video. Bye nerds.